Hey guys, I'm Adam Kwon, and today we are talking about the SAT reading section. Today we're going to be going over some of the basic information about the reading portion and what you should know and kind of what to expect. So basically, you have 65 minutes to complete 52 questions of about 5 passages in the SAT reading portion. And 4 of them are going to be informational passages. So they can be from a historical speech or from an article explaining an event in the past. And it can also contain information about science and experiments and whatnot. The One of the passages is going to be a literary passage. So it's going to be from a fiction book, maybe like Moby Dick or Adventures of Huck Finn. And it's going to pretty much explain a story for you to sort of analyze. And so you have about an hour to complete 50 questions. So you have about a minute per question, and you'll be able to read certain passages that will have certain goals. And those 3 goals may be that it might tell a story. One of the passages might talk about a character, or it might tell you something from a perspective of a person, or it might have the goal of just explaining what's going on in this specific context. The second thing that it might have is it might be containing an argument. So a couple speeches may have something where the speaker is trying to get you to believe in something that they believe in, or it might tell you something about their beliefs that you might not agree with, or that is contentious with something that isn't commonly known. Another example of it might be an experiment where somebody is trying to prove something, and it's oftentimes related with a scientific passage. So I've written down 3 examples. The story example I took from a portion of an SAT reading portion of Huck Finn, where it talks about him and Tom cutting along a passage of a garden fence and escaping to the other side of a house. And it's a really important scene, and you can see from the perspective of it, first person, that it is trying to tell a story. The second one is an argument where it talks about how teachers should be allowed higher average salaries because of their contribution to modern academia. That's just the intro thesis of whatever this passage is. And it's going to be explaining why this is supported, why it's not supported, and you are supposed to read through that and answer a bunch of questions. The last one is an experiment where it talks about in philosophy, Occam's razor suggests that the easiest explanation is often the best solution. Researchers tested this idea by the paper, and it'll sometimes have graphs, sometimes have tables for you to look at and reference for your future questions. It might have you look at specific lines or claims that they make, and it might also ask you about the method of experimentation that they used. So those were the sort of goals of the passages. However, some of the questions are often going to be more geared towards rhetoric, information, and synthesis. Rhetoric is about kind of that argument where the author is trying to convey their meaning, and you're supposed to understand that meaning is, or where they stand and all that. Information is questions that are focused on what the passage directly or indirectly says. So a couple of examples would be, oh, this specific word means what, or in this context, or according to lines 11 through 18, the passage is trying to tell you something about this and that information. And it's going to ask you, like, what is that piece of information that is important in terms of these lines. And the last one is synthesis, which is asking you to draw conclusions, make connections, and analyze graphs between different passages. So it may ask you to look at one area that's been written and another area, and it's going to ask you for maybe a similarity or maybe a difference, or it might ask you and give you 2 different graphs, and you'll be able to look through those 2 things and analyze them and see what's going on between them. What's the connection? So that's what synthesis is. It might even ask you questions within the same passage. So our strategy for the SAT reading review overview is to really give you guys an opportunity to practice some problems, explain and analyze specific questions, and I'll also be giving you test taking strategies in the next episode and other episodes of what you can do to maximize the time that you have in this portion. And so I'm really excited to share that with you guys. And so, yeah, thank you.